Hey guys, in this video we're going to be talking about graphing quadratics without technology for functions that are in standard form. So this is part 2 of the video about graphing quadratics by hand. So let's dive in. Okay, so a function in standard form looks just like this. You've got ax squared plus bx plus c. All right, now to calculate the x value of the vertex, there's actually a formula that we need to use. It's the opposite of b divided by 2 times a. So in order to do that, we need to understand what a, b, and c are. So again, remember, standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. So that means the coefficient of x squared is always a, the coefficient of x is always b, and your constant is always c. So remember, there's an invisible 1 here in front of that x squared, which we will need to find the x value of our vertex. So let's dive into that right now. So the opposite of b, if my b is -6, the opposite of that is +6. And this is actually going to give us the x value of our vertex. So I want to make sure we know that. So x is 6 divided by 2 times our a, which again is 1. Okay, so we have 6 divided by 2 times 1 is 2, meaning that the x value of our vertex is 3. Okay, then just like factored form, to find the y value of your vertex, you take the x and plug it in to find your y. So if I do that here, it's going to be y is, and then we're always going to use parentheses when plugging in. So it's 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 5. And to avoid making any silly errors, we're going to go ahead and use the calculator here. Again, making sure to use parentheses. So 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 5 is -4. So that means the y value of my vertex is -4. And once again, remember that your vertex is an ordered pair. So if I come back up to the top, my vertex is going to be 3, -4. All right, on the next page, we're still going to be working with this function here, and we are going to be plotting that vertex and then graphing the rest of the function. Okay, so we found the vertex from the last page. It was 3, -4. So we're going to go ahead and plot that first. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 is right there. Okay. All right, so part 3, create a table for the equation. You got to have at least 5 points. All right, so when I'm creating this table, what I like to do is make sure that my vertex is in the middle of it. So my vertex was 3, -4. And then I want to do 2 x values that are less than 3 and 2 that are greater than 3. The easiest thing to do is just to count backwards. So 2, 1, and then count forwards, 4, 5. And then we're just going to take each of those x values and plug them into the function. So if I start with 1, so I have 1 squared minus 6 times 1 plus 5. And I get 0. So I'm going to put a 0 right there. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing but with 2. So I'm going to have 2 squared minus 6 times 2 plus 5 is -3. So this is -3. Then I'm going to plug in 4. 4 squared minus 6 times 4 plus 5 is -3. And then I'm going to plug in 5. So 5 squared minus 6 times 5 plus 5 is 0. So if you take a look at this table, if you put your vertex smack in the middle like this and then do 2 less and 2 more for your x values, you should get a pattern that looks like this. Because remember, we're making a U shape. So once you hit that vertex, the y values start to repeat in the same way as the x values, okay? Now all we need to do is plot those points with the exception of the vertex because we already plotted it. So we have 1, 0, then we have 2, -3, and we have 4, -3, and 5, 0. There's our 5 points. There's our quadratic. Simple as that. Let's try 4 more. All right, so first one we have is -x squared plus 4x minus 4. So of course we got to find the vertex first. So it's opposite b over 2a. Remember, there's an invisible 1 here. So the opposite of b is going to be a negative 4. So negative 4 over 2 times negative 1, which is a, will give us the x value. So 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Negative 4 divided by negative 2 is positive 2. So I'm going to take my calculator and I'm going to plug that in. So I've got negative, and then it was 2. So 2 squared plus 4 times 2 minus 4. And I get 0. So that means my vertex is, so y is 0. So my vertex is 2, 0, which is right here. Okay, now we got to find 4 more points. So we're going to create a table. X, Y. I'm going to put 2, 0 in the middle. So 2, 1, 0, 2, 3, 4. And then we're just going to plug in. Now, if I plug 0 into this, all I'm going to be left with is negative 4. So 0, negative 4. Now I'm going to take my calculator and do the next one. So it's negative, and then in parentheses, 1 squared plus 4 times 1 minus 4 is negative 1. And it should create a pattern here. So if I plug 3 in, I should get negative 1 once again. So let's see, negative 3 squared plus 4 times 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Same thing if I do 4 squared plus 3 times 4, nope, 4 times 4 minus 4 is negative 4. That's how you know you've done it right. Okay, so let's plot those points. 0, negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have 1, negative 1, 3, negative 1, and 4, negative 4. So there's the quadratic for the first equation. All right, let's try another. This one we have x squared minus 1. So my a is 1, b has to be 0 because there's no x term, and c is negative 1. So let's do that work over here. So the opposite of b is still 0. So 0 divided by 2 times 1 is going to be 0. Now if I plug 0 in here, the x term goes away, so I'm just left with negative 1. So y is negative 1, meaning that my vertex is 0, negative 1. Okay, so we're going to plot that point, 0, negative 1, and then we are going to create a table. All right. Okay, so I'm going to put, I need to make this a little bit bigger. 0, negative 1 in the middle. So 0, negative 1, negative 2, 0, 1, 2. All right. So this one is x squared minus 1. So this one, it's very, very important to make sure that you use the parentheses properly, because if you square negative 2 without the parentheses, you'll get a different answer than what you're looking for. So make sure you use parentheses. Negative 2 squared minus 1 is 3. And then if I do negative 1 squared minus 1, I get 0. 1 squared is 1, minus 1 is 0. 2 squared is 4, minus 1 is 3. All right, so let's plot the points. We've got negative 2, positive 3, negative 1, 0, 1, 0, and 2, 3. So there is our quadratic. All right, a couple more. This next one here is 2x squared minus 12x plus 10. So a is 2, b is negative 12, and c is 10. Okay, so opposite of b is 12. So 12 over 2 times a is 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So we're going to plug that in to find our y. So 2 times 3 squared minus 12 times 3 plus 10 is negative 8. So y is negative 8, meaning that my vertex is 3, negative 8. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right there. Okay, let's make our table. So 3, -8, right in the middle. 3, 2, 1, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to do some calculating. Okay, so 2 times 1 squared minus 12 times 1 plus 10 is 0. Okay, 2 times 2 squared minus 12 times 2 plus 10 is -6. And then it should start going the other way. 2 times 4 squared minus 12 times 4 plus 10 is -6. And I bet this last one is going to be 0. 2 times 5 squared minus 12 times 5 plus 10 is 0. All right, let's plot those points. 1, 0 is right here. 2, -6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we have 4, -6. 1, 2, 3, 4, -6. And then 5, 0 right there. So this graph's a little skinnier than normal because of that 2 out in front. Remember, we talked in the last video about how fractions make it wider, whole numbers make it thinner. All right, one more problem. We have -2x squared plus 4x. This time c is 0. There's no constant at the end, so c is 0. All right, so the opposite of b is going to be -4 over 2 times my a was -2. 2 times -2 is -4. That means the x value of my vertex is 1. So we'll plug that back in. -2 times 1 squared plus 4 times 1 is 2. So my vertex is 1, 2. All right, 1, 2. Let's make our XY table. 1, 2 in the middle. 1, 0, -1. 1, 2, 3. Did not leave myself much space. Here we go. -2 times -1 squared plus 4 times -1 is -6. If I plug 0 into this, both of them are multiplied by 0, so I know that's going to be 0. Then we've got -2 times 2 squared plus 4 times 2, also 0. And then let's plug in 3. -2 times 3 squared plus 4 times 3 is -6. All right, so -1, -6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have 0, 0. And we have 2, 0. And then 3, -6. And there's my graph. All right. Little more work than graphing from factored form, but still not too bad. That's it. That's how you graph quadratics in standard form.